with me for the Random Reality Stars podcast is Monica and Sheree from The Amazing Race Season 4, also known as the Supremes by the other. Thank you, ladies, so much for joining me on this podcast.
No problem.
No problem.
So my first question I always ask, talk about your casting process. Why did you choose each other as partners? Give me all that good stuff.
She can start because she's the one that made it happen.
Well, how we got into the casting process is I wasn't watching The Amazing Race. It was one of my favorite shows at the time. And I just happened to look on CBS, the website one day and saw that they were casting. So I'm like, oh my God, this would be perfect for Sheree and I, who is my best friend since I was 19. I met her when I was cheering for the Colts. And so called her, told her about it. She hadn't seen the show at that time. And hired a videographer, set this whole thing up for our audition tape, told her to show up. We did our thing. And that's how it all started.
Yeah, so maybe obviously this was almost 20 years ago, but what was your first impressions of the teams, maybe even before you met them?
It was kind of weird because when we actually went for I guess the official interview, we noticed that we were kind of replacing some other people. We noticed because we didn't get a call initially. And so Monica reached out and made a phone call and was like, hey, we thought we'd be great for the show. We didn't get on at first. We're wondering why. And it was kind of a thing because of casting. I think the lady that interviewed us, it was her first time doing it. So they brought us back to see if we could really bring it, and we did.
Yeah, so going into the race, obviously you said that you watched a ton of it. So what did you expect the race to be, and how did that change while running it?
Well, because I'd watched a lot of it, when Sheree and I got a little behind the very first show, and I'm thinking, let's take the fast forward, because every season when you take the fast forward the first time, you come in first. You set yourself up for this wonderful race. Well, that didn't happen. And it was like, darn it. So I wish I hadn't known that part, because I would have probably said, let's not take the fast forward.
Right.
But, I thought looking at it, it was always a few teams that were scared of heights or couldn't really run that fast. And so we were excited about that. But then we get to the season and we have everybody is runners pretty much.
Right.
Nobody's scared of anything. And it was like, okay.
We have the athletic season except for a few.
Yeah. So, well, obviously, right off the bat, when we watched it, we saw a lot of drama between you and I call him Young Steve because there was Was there any other drama that we didn't get to see? Obviously, we saw throughout the season the whole Kelly and John and Millie and Chuck rivalry, but was there any other drama that we didn't get to see between you and maybe some other teams that we didn't get to?
I mean, I don't know about drama besides, initially when the very first show and we're running for the tram to take us to the airport. And was that when Kelly and John said, shut the door, don't let them on or something?
Right.
Somebody said, don't let them on.
Yeah.
And we heard them saying that. We were like, they had no reason to just dislike us in the beginning. I mean, it was only 2 female teams on there. Yeah. And it was like, they just instantly kind of had this attitude with us. We were like, we're the nicest people ever.
Yeah.
We were pleasant to everybody. So it was a little annoying. And then at the airport, when we knew there was only a certain amount of tickets to get on that first flight and teams worked together, they just met, had no reason really to work together, but cut us. So it pushed us onto the next flight, which was kind of foul.
Yeah.
That's okay. They all went off before us. Cheaters never win.
So once you get to go to Italy, I actually read in your bio that was one of the places that you wanted to go. But what were you like when you had to go to the Alps? Because I would die because I don't do cold weather. And obviously, I think at the time you guys were based in Atlanta and it's not very cold there. So what was your whole feelings about going to the Alps? Because it did not look fun at all.
I think it was just, in the moment, you're in the moment. So you don't worry about like your surroundings. If it's hot, if it's cold, you pack for everything. So it's kind of one of those things that your mind is just like, go, 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 go. I got to get the next clue. We got to get to the finish line before anybody else does. So you honestly don't even factor that in, you know?
Yeah, so why did you go for the fast forward? Because it's not like you were in dead last, like you were in the middle of the pack and there were clearly physically weaker teams behind you. So why did you go through it? And then how bad was hiking that? Like,
now I'm gonna stop you
call
there
it?
because you said clearly there were teams behind us. That's what you saw on TV.
Right.
We didn't know that teams was behind us. They don't really
had no
let you know
idea.
that. We had waited on the bus and our bus was delayed. There were supposed to be 3 buses. We didn't know how quick they were coming after each other. We sat there at this lodge place trying to get a ride for so long that then that's when panic started coming in. And we're like, we don't want to be the first ones off. Let's go. That's when my knowledge of watching the show before. Oh, well, people who took the fast forward, they jumped to this, we gave them this great lead. So, okay, let's do it. Well, we realized later on when we're watching the show, we didn't need to do it. But unfortunately, everything that's on the show, when you guys see it, is not how it's presented to us or how it's happening at that time.
Yeah, so after you go through the fast forward, what was that second leg like, and how frustrating was it with that equalizer with the mass challenge? Because I mean, obviously Kelly and John and Tian and Sheree, and there were a couple of teams behind you, and it was almost like all that work you did was for nothing, and it just came down to the one challenge. So maybe what was that like, and then why did you guys struggle so much with the mass challenge? Was it just nervous energy, and did you think you were going to be in last?
I'll tell you what happened. So I got sick. I'm the visual one. She is the daredevil. Like she would have been the one bungee jumping. She's a daredevil. I'm very creative. So I'm the one that's very visual. I was sick that day. And so I was battling a cold. And that was the day. Yeah, I think I might have had the flu, but I was so sick. So she had to actually do that challenge, which I would have definitely did that challenge.
I'm not that person. I won't remember, I can look at her 10 times and she could have on the same thing. I wouldn't remember that. And we know that about ourselves.
Right.
So that's not like my strength. I'm like I want to do the bungee jumping. I want to
she wants to do the wild stuff. And that would have been me. We'd probably, if I'd have done it, we'd probably been in and out in 2 seconds. But because I was deathly sick, she had to do it. And so yeah, you couldn't tell I was sick on the show because we had so much crap on, but I was sick.
Yes. So did you think you were going to be in last, or were you like, oh my God, like, did you think you were going to be that far?
We were crying. We had tears pouring down our face.
We just knew we were going to be in last. But the thing is, and a lot of people don't know, especially when you're stressed, you're not really sleeping. It's like being if you were drunk, so to speak, here I am with mine. If you were drunk.
Well, cheers.
But it's stressful when you're in there and you're seeing all these people walking around. They did not tell us. So these are things that you learn later on. They didn't tell us that, hey, that it could be, your car could be in play a couple times or whatever. So I was just so nervous. And then after the nerves started coming in, you see people leaving, then your whole that visual side, that a little bit I did have, it was just gone. So this panic, but then when we got out, we knew we could outrun because we were fast. We could foot race other people. That's not a big deal, but it was a stressful. It was. Stressful. But that was the last time we came in that close until I kicked off. But
So I forgot to ask this question, but who else did you bond with besides Riken and Chip? Because obviously that was the main storyline with you guys throughout the race. You're like, we're both the minority teams, with them being gay and us being an all-female Black team. So who else did you kind of bond with, and where did that bond kind of stem other than like what you just said on the show?
Eventually we bonded with Steve,
the air traffic controller.
Yeah.
And we liked gosh, now it's been so long forgetting everybody's name.
Oh no.
We went to visit them in California, our surfers.
David and Jeff.
Thank you. I'm like, oh my God, I'm seeing this is 20 years. My mind is like,
I only remember them because they were like one of the wanted two teams to not finish in the final three, and I interviewed the other one. So
yeah. And I mean, we actually, it's funny because we ended up bonding with a lot of them, the clowns,
Yeah,
the clowns we were cool with.
We ended up loving Tia and
Amanda and the ones we beat.
It was the heavier couple.
What is her name? Deborah's down. Deborah fell in the airport.
Yeah.
Everybody yelled, Deborah's down.
And we just jumped over.
But I mean, we actually bonded with everybody, honestly, because you're in this situation where your heart is pumping and adrenaline's going, you don't know what's going to happen. So you actually end up bonding with everybody.
That's cool. So going into that third leg, what was maybe your mentality coming off, like almost getting eliminated, and you get to go to another part of it? You get to go to Austria, and so maybe what was your mentality going into that leg, and then how? And then my next question is, how nervous were you jumping off that 460-foot Danaboo bungee jumping thing or whatever?
Well, we were like excited. We knew kind of what mistakes we had made the first leg, and first couple, we got our footing. I think we were really kind of sinking into like a good rhythm. Unfortunately, going into Austria, I got sick. So it was like kind of going around the teams. I was like really sick, and we had always talked about any kind of bungee jumping stunt like that I would do if it was an eating challenge. Sheree could do, and or the mask thing, but it kind of got reversed on us. So yeah, when she had to do it, I was like sitting there sick as a dog crying because I really wanted to be able to up there, but then I got a little panicked because I thought she passed out when she jumped.
Yeah. It was crazy because I really felt like when I jumped, I just couldn't think about it. It was one of those things where it was like, just do it. Don't think about it, just fall. And I started singing like gospel songs in my head. So when I was dangling down, I was just singing this whole gospel song. And Monica was like, what's wrong with her? She's not moving. Is she okay? And the sound guy was like, no, she's actually singing.
Yeah. So he told me to calm down, basically. He's like, she's all right.
Yeah. So what was it like going down that sewer?
Oh.
How nasty was that? Because I've interviewed a couple people that have gone through sewers, like through France and the race and stuff like that. And they're like, it's not that bad. But what was this one like? Because it didn't look fun.
Well, that was when I was sick. So the good thing is I couldn't really smell a lot. So that was the one saving grace because I was so like stopped up. I just kept praying that I didn't see a rat or anything because I'm like deathly afraid of them. But Sheree was pretty much dragging me through the sewer. I was holding on to her like this and she just powered through it. So it wasn't horrible. It just, we knew we were in the sewer, and who wants to be in the sewer? Like, so.
Yeah, so were people looking at you in the street when you had to carry that giant Beethoven thing? Were they like, what the heck is wrong with these two all-girl teams? Like, what are they doing?
Yeah, they thought we were crazy.
What did people think? Like, did you get stopped by people? Were they like, what are you doing? Or just like...
I think it was more just looks, they looked.
They had that look on their face like,
what? Yeah, they were more like, what?
So after that, you guys have a great rebound. You finish all the way in second place. And so on the next leg, you have to build a car and you have to drive on the racetrack. At this point, were you just like, can you cut it out with all this physical stuff? Can you give us a little bit of a break?
We got tricked again on that leg of the race because it said the clue was like, who can fit into small spaces?
Yeah.
And I'm shorter, than Sheree. So we're like,
yeah, you do it.
Well, we didn't know the tires were going to be just as big as me. And I had to roll them down the darn track and do all that. Because that's when Sheree's stronger. She would have been so much better to do that.
Right.
But yeah, we were just getting all like tripped up at every race or every leg of the race.
Yeah, so was there anything that we didn't get to see after you fix the car and you do all that stuff when you had that huge argument with Tian in the front of the line and they were all screaming at her? Is there anything we get to see with that? Because I know Riken and I think Steve got into it or someone got into it with them. And it just looked like a complete like disaster. So like, what was that about?
I don't know if it was like anything you didn't see. I mean, that's kind of the gist of it, but they kind of pulled up and everybody had been waiting. And when you like pretty much spend the night in your car and in this line, we respect it's a line for a reason.
Right.
And, then Tien it was a Tien that was more the one that was like, no, I'm going to go up in front of everybody.
Right.
So it probably was a little bit more volatile than what you saw on, the actual show, because people were not happy.
No.
But we didn't have to get into it that time. We just kind of, everybody else was going on.
I'm sitting here like, oh, wow, it's bringing back memories.
Yeah, I had to think about like, wait, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so after you go to France, you have to do that giant like propel off a mountain roadblock. Or or not roadblock, detour. So what was that like? Because we obviously saw you guys praying and you seemed really nervous and for all I know, you could have tried voodoo cursing the other teams to fail. So what was that like? Because at this point, I mean, like you've jumped off things, you've done a lot of physical things, you've hiked up slopes. Were you just like, okay, we're used to it? Or what was that like?
I didn't feel like it was so bad. No. For me, I didn't feel like it was so bad. I mean, we prayed because of course, you're jumping off, you're going down a hill, propelling down a mountain. But I didn't feel too like, I don't know, I guess because maybe I did the bungee jump that I didn't feel like it was a big deal.
Yeah, I wasn't like that stressed out. I mean, it was more like we learned how to do this literally right before. I mean, they told us what to do, how to come down. I had never propelled before down, like rock climbed or anything like that. So, but it was more of like watching people go over and get all scared and start kind of getting your head a little bit. But once we started, it was fine until I got to a point where I couldn't touch the rock wall. Like my feet just were just dangling in the air. So
slide down, keep going.
Exactly.
Yeah. So then I think I might be mixing this up, but what was it like? I think that's the following. Like, so after that, you finished like relatively like top middle of the pack. During the next episode, you talk like right after you're departing after the fourth leg, you depart to the Netherlands and you're like, Tien's kind of getting on everyone's nerve. We wish she wasn't around. What was that like? Just because from my perspective, like I understand how she can be bossy, but her partner didn't do anything. Like her partner did nothing. She had no roadblocks. Tien was carrying them the entire time. And so I could only imagine how exhausting that could be. So what was the tiff between her? Like, obviously we saw the argument, like I mentioned before, but was there anything in particular that was like getting on people's nerves, or was she just kind of fed up with her partner?
I think she was fed up because she had to carry her a lot. Like, as far as she had to push her to go, because I think she might have was smoking.
Sheree likes to have smoke breaks, and she's so sweet. I love her. I think it was how it's not like my mom or my grandmom always told me, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And sometimes Tien would just come off so rough, and if she just would have changed up a little bit, it probably would have been it wouldn't have felt so attacking like. Because she was a good, athlete, but she just didn't know she didn't have that bedside manner. Yeah. And she, like later on, after getting to know her, when we all were off, she was much nicer and sweeter than she was on the show.
She was a Viking. She was a Viking on the show. Like, she was going for it. She was hardcore. And I think Sheree was a little more laid back and a little more,
Yeah, so then you go to the Netherlands and then you have to do the 15 feet roadblock, and you obviously mentioned that you changed your kids' diapers, so it should be a piece of cake. But what was it like going into that giant pile of manure? Were you just like, no, absolutely not, or were you just like, let's just get this over with again?
Let's just get this over with.
Yeah, but we were lucky because
we got lucky.
As soon as she got there, she was like, pulls out. We were like, oh my God.
My first hand in, I pulled out the clue. So that was.
But that was after she saved me. Yeah, it was bad. Because I started sinking and Sheree literally picked me up and pulled me out.
She was sinking in the manure.
Yeah, it was bad.
So I skipped around a little bit. So what was it like when you'd go on the boat and you had to find that clue? Because a ton of people got lost. I think Kian and Sheree got lost for like 2 hours. What was the experience for you? Because I hate boats. So even if it's like a nice little boat ride, like I would be panicked the entire time. So what was that like? Because you didn't
The gondola. And literally,
yeah.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, I thought, I mean, from what I remember.
Monica was flirting with the guy first and foremost. Our little boat guy, she flirted with him because she knew he would help her out. And he did.
I was like, I don't know if we should go that way. And he'd be like, or we should go that way. I would do like that. And he'd be like, it's like, oh,
so a little flirting never hurt nobody.
You got to use what you have to your advantage.
Exactly.
I mean, Mike and Chip tell us that pretty. They're the ones that tell us that.
In our audition tape, what do we say? Never trust a big button of smile. Bell bib to bell.
True that.
Yeah, so you're doing well in the leg. Everything's going hunky dory, like fantastic. You're probably gonna get another top finish, and then your car breaks down. What was that like? Did you just want to like scream at the producers? Did you guys get like a janked car? Like what was that like? What happened with that?
In Amsterdam when we got stuck.
Oh, well, it's because I was driving and we knew we went past where we needed to go. And I was like, okay, you turn around. So I didn't know the grass was like so soft and we got stuck. And I just couldn't believe it because we were doing so good. Like at that point, we were just we were finishing pretty much, like you said, the top each time. After our first little incident, we were rolling. We were, I felt very confident we would have made it to the end. And when we did that, it was just kind of like your heart just like you can't even believe that, because not anything we did wrong or made a dumb mistake, just not knowing that the ground was not going to support a car. But thankfully,
these two big giant Amsterdam angels walked in
driving back,
and they came and I felt like they damn near lifted up the car. They were like big guys, really big guys, and got us out.
Yeah. So after that, you're probably like, I'm tired. I just want to get to the damn pit stop and take a rest. At least that's what I would be doing after the cow manure, the finding stuff in a gondola, getting my car stuck. So you get to this roadblock, and now you gotta like take all these eels and load them in a thing. And eels are slippery and slimy and annoying and
ugly,
and they're just like wet. So, what did you think when you did this? Were you just like, come on, stop giving us gross stuff, stop giving us physical stuff? I need a break. Because I honestly, watching every season of Amazing Race like I have, I think your season has got to be the most physical in terms of
it really was.
Task, in terms of all of that. I'm like, there is no diversity other than jumping off something, doing something physically strenuous, or picking up something really gross.
Well, you said it perfectly. And had we been on any other season, I feel very confident that we would have had a great chance. We should have went further on this one if we had not have went to India, which is a very
which I will get to that.
Yeah, any other season, that I've watched, I felt like,
this was a very physical.
We picked the wrong season. I picked the wrong season
to apply.
We had every challenge was just all like physical. It was just crazy.
And those eels were disgusting. I almost passed out. I told Monica that I did it because I knew, like I told you, adrenaline's going and you do it. But when I jumped off the boat after I finished it, I started getting really dizzy and I almost passed out because then it hit me what I had just did. And I got really dizzy. Like I thought I was going to die. I was like, this was disgusting.
Yeah. So, well, and in your season, you could, like, I've talked to like Joyce, the winner of season 7, and she was totally like, I wish I was on like Chip and Kim's season where they won, where they could pick like however many roadblocks, like you didn't have a limit. And so like, even with like Kelly and John, like John carried her like the entire time pretty much. Millie and Chuck were like 5 and 2, but they did it fast forward. So they were a little bit more even. But it's like, if you even have like a guy-girl team, like the guy could just carry the entire team the entire time. So that must have been frustrating as well, like 2 seasons later, figuring out that they finally had a limit.
Yeah.
So you finish like in 5th, which at this point is like the middle of the pack, and you're doing pretty well. And so first, I would like to preference this for everyone eventually watching this. every part in India is different. Every part in India is not the same.
Yeah.
But like you said, you've watched every season of the race. And obviously in season 1, you saw how India was bad. You saw how all these girls teams were crying. They couldn't get tickets because they were all girl teams.
Right.
When there were girl guy teams, I interviewed this woman named Karen who was like, took control of her partner who was a guy, and she would constantly tell them everything. And she was like, India was awful. So what was your mindset going into India? Because you obviously know that, no offense, they are sexist towards women in previous seasons. So how did you feel going into it?
You know, that actually didn't come into my mind because we were doing so good up until that point. You know, I didn't really feel weirded out until we got there, and to experience, I mean, and let's just be clear, it was not only sexism, it was racism as well.
Well, they thought you were Indian.
They would not speak to us. And unfortunately with the show, well, it's not really unfortunately, but it is part of the show. You rely on the locals to help you get to the next place or to answer.
And they do help, yeah.
And if you don't have the right, I mean, the people don't talk to you, it's like, how do you even make it out of there? And if you notice in India, the 2 female teams were eliminated, and that's not a coincidence, you know. And so, you know, I really wish they would just take India off. If they're going to have, you know, I hope to have more all female teams, take India off the map.
Yeah, I talked to one of the teams and they told me that they had a non-elimination leg in India, and they specifically made it a non-elimination leg because the all-girl team.
Probably because of our season.
No, it was before that, because the all-girl team in season 1, they couldn't get tickets and they were really sexist.
That was what we were dealing with. And I mean, to the point, you know, even what was so sad, and I mean, I'm jumping to the end of it, we just knew that at that point they had not had a non-elimination round. That should have been the first non-elimination round. Yeah. And they knew it wasn't because we didn't like not do what we were supposed to do. People wouldn't talk to us. We ran miles that day.
We ran so much. I can't tell you how hard we worked that leg of the race was the hardest leg of the race.
So I'll get to that. So you get to India, you're bunched up, you have to go to like this circus or performing school or whatever it was. You had to go there on bikes. And from what it seemed like, the distance wasn't that far because obviously it's a TV show and it's edited. Right. And so at first when you were walking, it didn't seem that bad. But why didn't you decide to walk when you could have just followed Riken and Chip's and rode their coattails maybe for that?
You know what? We kicked ourselves. Hindsight 2020, we kicked ourselves for that.
Riken and Chip did actually tell us, I didn't really think about this till later on, to come on. But if we're going to be honest, Sheree and I were coming in front of Riken and Chip every time, you know, and we were a calmer team. Like they were the athletic, you know, brute teams, but we were very, I mean, I think we thought things out.
And they didn't tell anybody else but me and Monica.
And it was
to follow them.
Everybody was going one way, and then you had one team saying, come this way. We didn't really know. And you're making split second decisions on no sleep. It's like you're not, you know, and Sheree didn't sleep the whole night before. We were totally like I said, it's like truly being like a drunk driver or something. You know, you're not making smart decisions. So we made that mistake and we regretted it after we realized later on, we were like, gosh, we should have went with Riken and Chip.
And they told us to.
But we didn't know. They didn't really.
We didn't know. And they had told like Sheree, what was her name? Sheree and looking it up.
Sheree.
Yeah, had they told them to go as well, we'd have probably went because we knew we could outrun them because of Sheree and her smoking. So we would have known we could have beat them, but they only told us. And so we were afraid that if we came down to a foot race, they would beat us.
They would have killed us.
So that's the reason we didn't follow them that day. But we had no idea they were going to come in first place that day.
And you have to think at the end of that, we're at the halfway point. It's not that many teams left. We're looking at everybody. Who can we outrun? Who can we physically compete with? Chip and Riken were the strongest, like physical guys on there. And if it would have came down to, like she said, them against us in our foot race to the finish line, they would have killed us. So we didn't feel comfortable doing
So we didn't feel comfortable because we didn't know if they had the right information or not. I want to say like the episode before, they did have to fight it out because they
Yeah.
did get wrong information. So it was kind of one of those things where, yeah.
Yeah, well, and looking at it from a perspective, like even if you followed like another team, like I think you would have outran Millie and Chuck just because of Millie's asthma, and I didn't know how fast of a runner she was.
Somehow we all got
separated.
separated at some point. I mean, we were all running, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, some
Yeah.
people went this way, some people went that way. We went the wrong
Yeah,
way.
and if you're on the race, you don't worry about what everybody else is doing. You have to have faith in your partner and your
Right.
own ability. We didn't ever look at other teams and say, "Oh, are they going this way?" We instantly make our
Right.
decision. We go, and once you make the decision, you stick with it and you just go with
Yeah.
it. It had not failed us up until that point, so
The laundry got us.
So do
Yeah.
you think, was it the walking that was your downfall, or was it when you were doing the laundry?
No,
was
it was not
figuring out
walking.
the sheets?
It was when we got to the laundry.
Yeah.
well, first of all, people wouldn't talk to us when we kept
Yeah,
asking
people
them.
wouldn't talk to us.
They wouldn't
Even
give us the
policemen
directions
wouldn't tell us
to
where
where we kept showing them or asking this name or whatever we were looking for.
They were
They would
sending
not
us-
talk to us.
yeah.
When we would walk up to them, they would like instantly turn their head. And we were just like, it's after a while, and you know they're not talking to you for a reason.
Yeah.
It's kind of disheartening, and we did slow down, and it's like we fought it out to the end, but they
Right.
would not help us at all. But they would help other teams. This is one that country that unfortunately you needed a guy on your team.
Yeah.
You know?
Mhm.
So I got to bring this up because it literally gave me anxiety while watching. I know it's my worst nightmare. The train, how bad was that? Because I even struggle crossing the street with crowded people. So how bad was that? Because it's just awful. Like it looked like a nightmare.
It was worse than it looked.
It was worse because the smells
And the people trying to touch you. And
Yeah.
I jumped on, it was so crowded. It's a moving train. It didn't really even stop. You had to run and try to get in. All these people are pushing you.
Yeah.
I jumped on, Sheree didn't make it on. She's like, I didn't make it. So I had to jump off a moving train. I fall, roll down, roll on the train platform.
Right.
She's freaked out. I'm like, I'm okay. Let's do it again. And it was just scary because they were very aggressive,
Yeah.
especially towards the female teams. They would try to fondle you.
We had no idea we had bodyguards until we went to India.
The female
And then all of a
teams.
sudden they showed up and we was like, y'all been with us this whole time. Like,
No,
yeah.
but for India only. That's what
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize they had bodyguards that entire time because I've interviewed people from even like 2 seasons ago, and they were like, "Oh, like the reason we couldn't turn some places because we got lost and our security left us." And so I didn't realize that they actually had bodyguards. I
We
knew
didn't know it until India, and we didn't realize it later on.
Well, we didn't need them until India.
Yeah, that's when the 2 female
Yeah.
teams needed. You had to have protection because they were very aggressive. And I mean,
Yeah.
this is no diss to. Like you said, there's certain parts of India that's great. The part we were in
Yeah.
was not safe or great, especially for an all-female team.
Yeah.
Black women whom they even feel, it was a
Yeah.
little,
Well, they thought you were Indian. That's what they treated us.
no, they were just,
They thought she was Indian. You think about it, they've never seen black people. They thought you were Indian.
Did they come? I'm sorry. Did they come up? Did they come up to you, or were they like, "You're Indian"? Like, I can't believe that.
They loved her. They
No.
loved her. They were flirting with her the whole time because they thought she was one of them.
Well, why didn't?
I wanted to do it, like maybe put a dot on my head or something and just, go with it. But, it's like, okay, it might be too much.
Why didn't you use that? Like you said.
Exactly. Well, no, because
They were
they don't
crazy.
treat their women that
No, the women
great.
are like second
Yeah.
class citizens there, and
We'd have used it if we could have.
Trust me, we would have, but
So after you get on the train, you have a choice between basically a dumb luck roadblock, which is like you have to sort through these fabrics and then you have to clean these sheets. It didn't look physically demanding, but just
was
based
horrible.
on like you had to shove you're already sweaty from running and you're shoving your hands in this cold water. How bad was that? And was it really that you missed the sheet? Was that your demise? Like you said that you had to go over again?
It was our demise.
It was
yeah. That was
100%.
it.
but it was so much dirtier. These outside like wash basins that were just, it was nasty water to the point the smell was horrible. It's covered in dirt. And you're washing piece by piece to look for some clue. We ran in past the bags that we should have grabbed.
Right.
And it was after maybe an hour or so of us.
We spent
washing
way too
clothes.
much time there. Yeah.
We realized where we were supposed to get the laundry from, but it still was just a nasty experience. I mean,
wait, so you picked, because I saw they designated laundry for you to go through. You didn't pick laundry that they designated at first?
we didn't. We ran in and we're asking people, where is this place? We have a clue that tells us pick up this. They wouldn't talk to us.
Nobody would
talk to us. So we saw some teams. We just got into a thing and okay, maybe we figured it out on our own. Well, we figured it out wrong. We were supposed to get it from when we first came in the little wash area, which was huge. And this is a massive area. I don't know if TV did it justice.
No, they did not.
Huge. It was huge.
So who did you see, if you don't mind me asking? Because the way that they edited it, it looked like you were like almost a step behind everyone. It's like they were at the roadblock for the detour.
We saw we could tell where teams had been. We saw we saw people run out. I mean, we weren't as far as they may have made it look like.
Oh, so you didn't see teams, you just saw where they had been. So at that point, so did you think you were in that?
Leave when we
might have saw the clowns.
I'm pretty sure we saw a team leave because we knew, like, okay, we're still in this. But we
spent way too much time there because I think we only were behind.
We weren't
very much.
It was like 20 minutes or something really close.
Yeah. So you get to the mat and you're eliminated. Do you think you're going to get eliminated, or were you like, they're going to give us a break? Like, how depressing?
Hoping,
but we're this is the sixth leg of the race,
right? And there have been no passes.
That should have been. And on previous episodes or seasons, they had a non-elimination round way before that. So we just could not even fathom the fact that they were going to eliminate us. We were just like dumbfounded.
Yeah, it's ridiculous because when I had Bertram on, I was shocked when you said this answer. He said that they're all predetermined. But I was like, one of my friends was on it, and they had a non-elimination leg on the third leg and the fifth leg, and he got eliminated in the fourth leg. And she was like, "Are you kidding me? Like every single leg, like they got better." And she was like, "They got eliminated because they were an all-girl team and it was physical tasks." So
and not only did they eliminate us, and this is the sixth leg of the race, Tina and Sheree got eliminated the seventh leg of the race.
Which you would have
should have been at least then should have been a non-elimination round.
Right. It was like the show was almost over before they did a non-elimination round.
Why would you not done it before then? Now that's one thing. I love Bertram. I'm still friends with Bertram to this day.
Yeah.
But that was a bad choice. He knew it. He knew we were, and he even said we were one of the strongest teams. We were a big fan favorite. And for them not to have a non-elimination round at that point in the race was ridiculous. I'm sorry.
Like, even from a marketing perspective, like, you need an all-female team for representation.
Right. That's why we couldn't understand.
And we're African-American. Like, no African-American team had made it past like the first or second round. Like, that was the time to be.
Well, actually, in season one, there was the runner-up, Frank and Margarita, but
they did. Frank. See, you see the name. There's a guy and a girl.
Yeah,
it was a guy and a girl, but two women.
Yeah, I interviewed him. He was pissed because they were supposed to win that first season, but production interfered.
Who won the first season?
So after what?
I said, who won the first season?
Rob and Brennan.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Rob and Brennan were supposed to get on the wrong train, and production went on the right train, and they just followed production, and she's still pissed about it. So after you get eliminated, you go to sequester. So were you guys decors where you had to travel around with the other teams, or did you just go to sequester?
A little bit of both. We ended up being decoys as well, but it was depressing. I mean, even though you're in this beautiful place, it's depressing when we knew we were strong and as strong as anybody that was left. And we just were so upset that because it was India and not because of anything we did, it was more of we got eliminated because people wouldn't talk to us because we're females. That's a hard pill to swallow. And to see the other female team come right off after us, even though I didn't want them necessarily to win, but I did want them to win because I wanted females to make it through.
Yeah.
It was just disheartening that the two female teams got kicked off in India.
Yeah.
And it was just like, come on now. You guys got to see that this is not just. I mean, It was just,
And it was, I mean, in all the other countries, they were so cool. Like everybody was so nice and so cool. I mean, everywhere we
places
went,
that
Austria,
we were worried about where there's not a Black person in sight.
Yeah, Austria. And I mean, they were so nice. So
then you get to India where people are darker than us. And I mean, no offense, some people living on the streets in boxes. Like I had never seen poverty like that in my life. And they were looking down on us. They were looking at us like, and we were like, really?
That whole the what was it? It was like right after you came out of I don't know if it was a circus or performing arts school. I don't know what that was. There was like the whole shelter with like boxes and like houses made out of wood. And I was just like, I can't even imagine like what a culture shock that is.
We slept on concrete that night. That's why I didn't sleep. We slept on concrete. You could hear the wild hogs like running around. It was really kind of scary.
I never seen anything like that in my life. And to be treated like, poorly because you're a female or you're a Black woman, especially when they're living like something I've never even dreamt of. I was just like so shocked because, we were so happy when we got to India. We were like, people of color, finally, we're going to see some people of color.
But they didn't speak English either.
Yeah, they didn't like us.
The other countries kind of could understand us. They had
nice.
No skills.
I forgot how nasty was carrying that fish after washing that clothes and being around. Was that worse than the eels? You think?
It was the worst thing I've ever done in my life to this day. And it was, I don't think, unfortunately, a lot of the things that you do on the show,
they don't look that bad because it didn't look that bad.
As it is. I remember every season after it ended, we would have like a rap party, or we do like when the new season is starting, we would meet up with all the old racers. They would have like this function, right? And I remember the season prior to us coming on, it was a girl on that team, and I can't remember her name right now, but I used to just get annoyed with her. She complained about everything.
Flo. I know exactly what you're talking about. It was Flo.
I went up to her. I saw her at this rap party, and I said, "You don't know me, but I gotta apologize to you because I complained about you so much. And until you actually do this show and know how hard it is and the things that they don't show the audience, because it's TV, they have to make it look great. You don't know half of the things these people go through. Right. Nobody knew what we went through. Nobody knew the sleep deprivation. We're having 1 hour of sleep, 2 hours of sleep, and you have to go up and make these split-second decisions. Right. You look back and you look stupid, but it's like, I was sleeping. I went up 1 hour of sleep and I had to make this decision. I just did a 24-hour train ride and I had to make this decision. So it's frustrating to get kind of put into this little box of, oh, why didn't they do that?
Right.
And when you're only seeing an edited version of what's happened over a few days, our little clip is maybe 10 minutes of that whole show, what's happened over 3 days.
Yeah. And so like, I also forgot to mention this. Well, sorry, I'm getting like amnesia, but what was it like with like booking flights even? Because that was a huge part of the race too. Like, luckily you guys didn't get screwed with that, but I've interviewed people that have gotten screwed off flights, off buses, off a bunch of things. So even with that, like how stressful is like that? Because one wrong move with that, it doesn't matter what you do in the leg, you can be screwed.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah, you do. You have to, it's kind of one of those things, you have to make sure they have enough tickets and they only have a certain amount of tickets. And I don't know how much of that is.
Yeah. And then there's only certain lines we can go into.
Right.
They would have those marks. And you guys might not see that, but there's only like, if there's 20 lines open, there's 2 that might be for Amazing Race.
Right.
And you have to go wait in those lines, even if they're the longest lines. It's the luck of the draw when you get there. Or if you have people who like on the first leg, bring you up to the front when they should have been up to the front. It's like things like that happen and it's frustrating.
Yeah. So what did you actually do in Sequester, if you don't mind me asking? Because a lot of people, they said that they had fun being decors because they got to do tasks and stay in hotels. So what did you do in Sequester? And I heard through the grapevine, there were some people in Sequester that didn't even talk to anyone. They just isolated themselves. And like, that guy Russell or whatever completely isolated himself. So what was that? Because I was just so confused with like.
He was weird. He was a weird one.
I mean, after we were depressed at first. Let's just be clear. Yeah. Sheree and I are both competitors, and you can't do a lot because they don't let you just like hang out because you can't get spotted by, because there's all these people out here watching, and they know where you might, it leaks out where you might possibly be, and then they can do spoilers. So you couldn't really just be out on the town, so to speak.
They had planned stuff for us, so we got to do planned stuff.
Yeah, we went to like a soccer game. We, went to the mall. We would watch movies, but we were both depressed at that point. We knew we should still be on there. So we probably spent a lot of time in our room sleeping or crying.
Did you
watching movies?
Did you stay in India, or did you get to go somewhere?
Oh no. No,
thank God. We had to go we were in Portugal.
Yeah.
We got flown to Portugal, Spain, and that was pretty nice.
Yeah, we got to go to like a soccer game, football. They call it football. We got to go to a football game. We all got to hang out and go. We did a big dinner. We got to go out to a club.
That's when we bonded with a lot of the other teams, because you then realize like you're just so many things you have in common. And even though you might not have liked them so much on the race because you're competing, we all got along and had a good time.
Yeah, we did.
Only a few people that kind of kept to themselves, like Russell.
Russell was a weird bird.
I can't believe that. Like, I read it and I was like, what? Who is this person?
He's different. Yeah,
he was different.
What was his partner's name?
I forgot. Who's
Cindy.
Cindy.
Oh yeah, Cindy. I can see her face.
Cindy was different.
Yeah, they were different.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they were as bad as the 12-year dating virgins. I don't understand that. Like, date for 12 years.
12-year-old dating virgins. They were pretty cool. Amanda and they were nice.
Millie and Chuck.
Oh, Millie and Chuck. Yeah.
Amanda was Where's My Purse.
Oh, that's right.
They were fun. They were funner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Millie and Chuck they were nice. They were sweet. Okay. They were like virgins. Okay.
Yeah, but so I just have a couple more questions. So I mean, obviously it sucks to get eliminated, but were you glad that you didn't have to like do that, like when they had to hold on to the cow and they were
no, we would have done that. I would have done that.
Well, I know she would have, and we were both finally healthy, feeling good. We were in our little, good.
Right.
We knew
I would have definitely done that. I would have held on to the damn cow.
It was depressing to me, and I cried, I think the whole time I was in sequester, like being sequestered and going home.
Except for when you burned your hair off.
True. Yeah, I was so upset. I was like, we laughed about this because we were in sequester and we were gonna go out one night, and I hadn't curled my hair in so long. I had a curling iron. I was talking and I had this big chunk of hair, curling my hair, talking, and it just burned off. So this whole
because the voltage is higher.
Yeah, burned my hair off. A whole chunk of my hair fell off, and I'm telling Sheree, like, oh my God, this is like bad to worse, a little piece of hair gone.
So I just have a couple more questions, some fun questions. If you could race with anyone other than your partner, who would it be and why?
I mean, honestly, Sheree would still be my choice.
Me too.
Because we balance each other out so well. We know when to kind of back off. We know when to get pushy with each other. I think it was times when I was weak, Sheree had the strength to pull me along, and I think vice versa. We were very protective of each other. And when you're in the delivery room with each other and seeing a person give birth and all the things we went through in life together, I don't think there was anybody else that I would.
Yeah, she's the yin to my yang.
How disappointing was it not getting a call for All-Stars and then not having a rep from your season? Because other than like season 6, which was
we did get a call.
We did get a call.
And it was disappointing to not get cast, because we did get the call.
We did get the call.
And we knew, we were like, oh, we're ready. We started training.
We started training. Yeah, we started going out again.
To not
we
get
did get a call.
Actual final, like you're doing it. Yeah. We were hurt. And then not have somebody for season 4 who was the first season to win a freaking Emmy. Let me be clear. Why did not somebody from our season get put on there?
That's weird. Because I obviously said I talked to Joyce a while back, who was on that season, and you guys on even the Amazing Race wiki page weren't even mentioned like in the alternate list. The only team that was mentioned from season 4 was Kelly and John, but that's just because I think Phil had some obsession with John for some strange reason. So
yeah, no, we got a call. They called us. They were ready. Like we went and started working out, and then we didn't hear anything, but we sent in, they wanted us to send in some more stuff and,
Yeah, it was disappointing.
Yeah.
We thought we knew as far as fan wise at that point, we were pretty much of a strong team
Yeah.
and had a good thing going. But yeah, it was just like I said, not to see anybody on our season.
yeah,
That was just kind of a crappy casting call. Sorry.
right,
Yeah, season 6, I get it because that was a disaster and like
right,
no one like season 6.
right.
And then season 8 was obviously the family edition, but
Yeah, I stopped watching it. And I'm mad.
like even they had like a mixed like what do you call it? Like a team that wasn't even supposed to be a team.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
That was frustrating.
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
I mean, but we're still fit. We'll go back if they call us down.
Right. Except for my right knee.
You could just pull a Reese Witherspoon and barge up to CBS headquarters and be like, "Do you know who we are?" And then
Exactly. Yeah.
be like, "Hi, Bertram, remember us?"
Oh,
No.
Bertram rememers us.
I
We've
still-
had
I
dinner
still
with
talk to
Bertram.
Bertram.
Yeah, we still talk to
Yeah.
Bertram. He's had dinner. He's come to Atlanta, had dinner with us. So
He's great.
Amazing race. It's definitely the word I would use for it.
amazing.
It's
Yeah.
not even something anyone can understand unless they've done it. So, thank you for bringing like a little spotlight to the past racers and just the difficulties and things we face. So we appreciate it.
Yeah, it's truly amazing.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, and I'm glad you guys had fun, and I'm glad I could bring you back some good memories and give you some good laughs. So this should be
Cool.
posted by tomorrow, and I'll definitely let you guys know. But thanks so much, and I really appreciate it, and have a great rest of your week.
It was
Thanks.
nice to meet
You
you,
too,
and thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.